Helicopter pilot is awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroic efforts during the Vietnam War. Here's One America's Zach Peterson.
On June 18, 1968, then-Lieutenant Larry Taylor was providing air support for a four-man recon team in Vietnam. The boots on the ground began to take on so much enemy fire that the plan to evacuate them was called off. Those four soldiers were doomed to perish right there in the jungle. But Taylor, with his Cobra gunship that wasn't even designed for transport, decided to brave enemy fire instead of leaving the recon group behind. The four men grabbed the helicopter's skids, and Taylor miraculously lifted the group out of the combat zone and flew them to safety.
Well, nobody got killed, so we managed to pull everybody out, and we pulled it off.
And now, some 55 years later, he's been given the recognition he deserves for his courage under fire. President Biden awarded the now 81-year-old retired Army captain at the White House Tuesday.
The Medal of Honor is our nation's oldest and highest recognition of valor. Now, when I called Larry to let him know he finally was receiving this recognition, his response was, "I thought you had to do something to receive the Medal of Honor."
But this humble hero maintains he was just doing his job. He flew over 2,000 missions and has received dozens of combat awards.
I think I was shot down 5 times in Vietnam. And people says, you'll get used to it. They lied. I never got used to it.
According to the National Medal of Honor Museum, 41 million Americans have served in the armed forces. Of those, only 3,500 have received the Medal of Honor. Captain Larry Taylor is one of only 61 recipients still living today.
And before the end of that medal honor ceremony, President Biden made a beeline for the exit. Biden abruptly left before closing prayer, leaving the honoree behind on the stage by himself. The entire benediction was given without the president, instantly igniting a firestorm of criticize on Twitter X. The exit was so odd, even for Biden, that reporters asked the White House secretary for an explanation, which she blamed on COVID.
And he left as planned, as it was planned. He left when there was a pause in the program in order to minimize his close contact with attendees who are about to participate in a reception. And as you all reported that, noticed that he left when there was a pause in the program because, again, he wanted to minimize certainly his impact on folks who were there.
Sure. Despite the White House's claim that Biden's abrupt exit was pre-planned because of his possible exposure to COVID, he did not social distance or avoid contact with the 81-year-old honoree.